Hello once again. Welcome to Zephyr's BI and Analytics, where we learn by building BI projects. So this is actually a continuation video to our Udemy courses analysis. So if you check on this channel, if you've not seen part 1 of the video, check on the channel, you'll find the part 1 of this video. So we're going to continue from right where we stopped. We're going to start by creating the charts we have. So let's quickly look at the report. So we're going to start by creating the chart for the total subscribers by the courses level. Then we'll go ahead and create how much subscribers are willing to pay, spend. Then we'll go ahead and create the scatter plot. So let's start with the total subscribers by course level, then how much subscribers are willing to pay. So these are just simple charts. So I'll come here, I'll just pick the stack column chart. So we already have a measure for total subscribers. So I'll just pick the measure for total subscribers. I'll go check course level. We have the course level on the fact Udemy table. So I'll check for the course level. This is level. Great. So we have the subscribers for each of the levels. I don't know if it's going to be ideal instead of, I didn't think of this before now, but instead of showing the number of subscribers, that's the total subscriber by the different cost level. If it's okay for us to decide to just show the percentage of subscribers for the different cost level, maybe it's something we should try out. I didn't think of it before now, but instead of showing the numbers of subscribers, we can actually go ahead to show the total subscribers for each of the, that's the percentage of subscribers for each of the level. So to do that, what we need to do is just a simple, we'll come to our DAX table, say new measure. We can actually try this out. So I'll just say level percent. I'll call this level percent. So what we need to do is just say we want to divide our total subscribers. We have a measure for total subscribers already. Total subscribers. Now we want to calculate. We need a comma. Now we want to calculate the total subscribers also. Remember, next thing we need to do, we have to say all. So we're doing this by the cost level, so we need to look for the cost level, that's the facts level. Filter. So close this here. Finally. So this is just the level, total subscribers. So we're going to get the percentage of subscribers for each level. So once we commit this now, so for this chart, rather than have total subscribers, we can actually remove the total subscribers and change it to level percent. So we'll stay on the level again and change this to percent. So what we're going to be seeing is the percentage subscribers for each of the levels. So when we click on this, come to format, we turn on the data label. So you're going to be seeing the percentage of subscribers for each of the level. I think this is better. I didn't think of it before now, but walking through this video, I just thought of it now. So it's actually better. It looks better and it makes more sense. So we're going to go next. We have this chart already. Don't worry about the formatting. We'll come back to formatting the charts. but for now we can actually just come to the y-axis and turn off the value and title. Great. So the next chart we need to create is how much subscribers are willing to spend. How much subscribers are willing to spend. So if we come to our report here and navigate to table view, now we want to go to our fact table. This is our fact Udemy table. Within our fact table here, this is the price, which is the amount subscribers are willing to spend, the amount they are willing to pay. This is the amount they are willing to pay. But if I click on the drop down here, you can actually find the amount from 0 to 200. So what I did was create a bucket. I simply created a bucket, and what I mean by a bucket, using an if statement. So if we navigate to the report and come here, come to the data set, I created a bucket for the prices because the prices are distributed from 0 to 200. So I simply created a bucket which is price category display. So this is bucket I created from price category. Now from 0, if the price category, that's if the price is actually greater than or equal to 0 and less than 40, that's $0 to $39. You get $0 to $39. So if the price is actually greater than 40 and less than 80, $40 to $79. So I use the switch statement to create a simple bucket. So I'm just simply going to copy this now. I'm going to copy this. Although I have to do a lot of naming because the name of this table is quite different from what we have there now. So I'll copy this measure. Then I'll navigate back to our reports now. I'll come to the table view. In our table view, what we want to do now is add a new column. So the column name we want to refer to here is price. So once I paste the code I copied, now I'm getting this error because the name of this table is only its dataset, data DNA dataset, but that's not the name of my table. The name of my table is actually Udemy. That's fact Udemy. So I have to delete this and rename to fact Udemy. That's fact Udemy. So we also have price, so it's fact Udemy price. So what I'm going to simply do, I'm going to copy this now and quickly just rename everything I have here. I'll rename everything I have here. That's why I'm getting the error. So I'll quickly rename this also, rename this, I'll rename this also, I'll rename this, rename this, and finally I'll rename this. So what I've done now is actually to categorize the price. Instead of displaying the price from 0 to 200, we're saying, okay, we're going to categorize this price from 0 to 39. That's from 0 less than 40, that's $0 to $39. From $40 to 80, $40 to $79. We've actually done this before in some of our videos. That's some of the videos on this channel. So we're doing this now using the switch statement. We can actually replicate this using the if statement. So whichever one is actually okay. So once I'm done with this, I'll simply come to commit to have the new column created. So if you come to the new column, the column has been created. That's the price category display. Great. So this is the price category now. For this price category, there is $0 to $39. If you look at the price of the course, it's actually $20. So it falls within that range. So with this, we can now go back to our report view. If you come to this report now, what we want to do is how much subscribers are willing to spend. So we're going to view this against the subscribers. So what we need to do now is come back to our report. Now, instead of having these values here, actually, I would rather we have percentage actually now. I'll prefer percentage also. So I'll come back to our report now. In our report, we need to create a new measure now. Similar to the measure we created for the levels percentage. So we need to create a new measure now. I'll stay on the DAX table and say new measure. So once I'm here, I want to call this measure, that's the price percent. I want to call this measure price percent. So all we want to do is simple. We simply want to divide. What are we dividing again? Total subscribers. We already have a measure for total subscribers. So now we want to calculate total subscribers. I'll open up the filter. That's all. We're not filtering now. So all now is going to be the fact price category display. That's the price category display. So I'm going to select the price category display and close this. Need to close this one more time. So this is the simple measure. It's a very simple measure to calculate the percentage. So once we've done this, I'll simply come and commit this. Great. So we can go ahead now and create our visual. So I'll simply pick the star column chart again. Let's reduce this. So for this, I'm going to pick the price percentage we just created. Then I'll scroll down now, come to the fact Udemy table, and pick the price category display. Great. So one thing we need to do, stay on the price percentage and click on the percent sign. Great. So this is our chart. We can simply come here, format now, turn on the data label. Great. So we can actually see the percentage. A large number of the percentage of subscribers are willing to spend between $0 to $39. Great. So we have the two charts. We have we have the two visuals now. Excuse me. We have the two visuals now. So finally, we need to create the scatter plots. We have two scatter plots here. So the first scatter plot is actually the subscribers versus the reviews. Subscribers versus the reviews. So we want to try and find the line of correlation between the subscribers and the review. Because if you've ever taken a course in Udemy, if the course gets a lot of reviews, when I mean reviews now, we can actually tell here if the reviews are positive or negative. But we know very well that reviews sometimes have, of course, review we influence the numbers of subscribers. So if you have a course and the course is actually getting lots of positive reviews, that will actually bring more subscribers. That's for the first scatter plot. Then the second scatter plot is the subscribers and the revenue. Definitely, once your subscribers are increasing, there's always a chance that your revenue is going to increase also. So we're trying to find the correlation between these two. So the first one we're going to create is the subscribers versus the reviews. So we'll go back to our visual now. So while we're here, I'll simply just pick the scatter plot. This is the scatter plot. So this is going to be the subscribers versus the review. So I'll simply come. We've not created any, we didn't create a measure for average subscribers and average reviews. So we can actually go ahead and create that measure now, new measure. So we'll call this AVG subscribers. I'll simply call on the average function, average, then is our fact Udemy, that's subscribers, average number of subscribers. Then we also need to create this for, that's the average review. So we need to create another measure, new measure. So this will be average review. So this is average. Then we look for the fact reviews. Great. So once we have these two already, the next thing we need to do is plot our scatter plot. So I'll pick the average review. I'll pick the average review. So I'll take the average review. I'll drop it on the x-axis. Actually, it should go to the y-axis. I'll take the average subscribers. I'll drop it on the x-axis. Once I've done that, we're yet to see any change in our scatter plot. I'll come to our fact Udemy. I'll take the number of subscribers. I'll drop it on the values. Great. So this automatically gives us the correlation between our subscribers and reviews. So the next thing we need to do is format this a bit. We can actually come to the analyzer here, and we are going to add, we need to add the trend line. Yes. So we add the trend line. That's fine. So next we need to create this same chart for our subscribers against the revenue. Subscribers against revenue. So we already have average subscribers already. We need to create a measure for average revenue. So we'll come to new measure. So this measure will be average revenue. Simply average. Then we refer to our facts table revenue column. Average revenue. Great. So the next thing we need to do is simply pick another scatter chart. Now we want to plot. What we need now is the revenue, average revenue to the y-axis, then subscribers, that's the average subscribers, to the x-axis. Finally, I'll come to my fact Udemy, take the number of subscribers, drop it on the values. Great. Next thing we need to do is simply come to and turn on the trend line also. So the trend line shows a positive correlation. If you've actually read a little about correlation statistics, once you see this straight line, it actually shows a positive correlation. You can actually check, you actually notice when there's a negative correlation, that's when the line is actually skewed backward. So with this, we've created the charts we need. We've created the charts we need, the two scatter charts, and the two column charts. We have one more chart to go, just one more chart, and that's the pie charts. We have one more chart to go, that's the pie chart. That's the pie chart we have here. No, this is actually a donut chart. So for this, we actually have the total courses and the courses that are actually paid or free. So if we go back to our table, we have a column that actually displays the status of the course, if it's free or paid for. So this is the column. It's simply asking the question, is it paid? True, yes, it's paid. That's true. False, is not paid, which means it's free. But we don't have, so we'll quickly, let's just create a new column. We'll call this column course We'll call this column the course status, and we'll simply say if is a simple measure now. If the fact is paid is equal to true. If it's paid, if the course is paid, sorry, what happened? Okay, so that's course status. If the fact is paid is equal to true, if it's true, then paid, else free. That's it. So I'll commit this. Great. So we'll come back to our report view. Simply pick the donut chart. This is donut chart. Well, for the donut chart, what we need is just the course status now. This is the course status we just created. Pick the course status. It's not. I'll pick the course status and come to our DAX and pick our total courses. Great. So this is our total courses and this is our course status if it's paid or free. So we just do a simple format and come to the legend. The legend here, we don't need the title and we don't need the title. And where do we want our legend? On top. So we want the legend to be on top center. And finally, we also just want to display the percent, we also want to just display the percent. So we'll come here, the format option, and say percent of total only. Great. So we have this now, and with this we've actually created the entire chart. That's the visuals we need. We created all the visuals we need for the report. So one thing we also need to do quickly for the year slicer on the report, you can actually see the year slicer doesn't display the year, rather it's a small box with 11, 12, 13. Let's go to our report now. So this is the year slicer. What you have is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. That's 17. Of course, 11 meaning 2011, 2012, 13. So for that, on our date table, we just have to write a simple, we'll add a column to simply say, this is my date table here. I needed to add a column to simply say if the year, that's the year abbreviation. So it's a simple column also to simply say, before now we did a switch statement using when we wanted to do the price category. So this one is simply saying switch if the year is 2011 then 11, if it's 2012 then 12. So I'll simply just copy this. It's a similar approach to what we did using the switch statement before now when we created the bucket for our price category. So I'll navigate back to our report now. In our report here, we don't have a date table, it's actually a calendar table. So I'll go to the table view. I'll come to add column. I'll paste the code I copied now, which is year abbreviation. But now I'm getting an error here. That's because we don't have a date. It's actually calendar. That's the name of our table. So I'll simply say calendar. That's the year. The calendar here is throwing an error. So let me quickly just go back to be sure. Okay. So I made a mistake. So be sure I'm simply going to undo this now. I'm going to cut this. I actually made a mistake. I'm on the fact Udemy table, so that's not where we want to create a column actually. I'll simply delete this. We want to create the column on the calendar table, so I'll come to the calendar table. The calendar table. This is where we want to create the column. This is the calendar table, so I'll add the column now. I'll paste. So we are referring to the calendar year, the calendar table. So I'll simply say calendar and scroll down to year. Great. So this is the column we're referring to. If the calendar year is 2011, then 11. If it's 12, then 12. So once I'm done with this, I'll just commit this. Great. So I'll come to the report view now. In the report view, what we need to do is come pick our slicer. That's the new the new slicer. I'll pick the new slicer and come to the calendar table and pick the year abbreviation. So this is the year abbreviation. Great. So the next thing we need to do is come to format, layout. So this is the grid. We want the maximum number of columns we want is actually 1. We have 7 dates. So the maximum number of rows should be, let's say, 7. Okay, great. So this is to take it the other way around. So what we need to do is say the maximum number of rows we want is 1, and the maximum number of columns we want is actually 7. Great. So this will take it this way. So we have from 2011 to 17. Great. So just reduce the size. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm simply going to come to the title, turn up the title. Great. So just reduce the size. Automatically this becomes our year slicer. So if you pick a particular year, it slices the reports. Particular year, it slices the reports. Particular year, it slices the reports. So one thing we need to do, while this year slicer is selected, we don't want the year slicer to interact with this chart we have here. So I'll come to format, I'll edit interaction. I don't want the slicer to interact with this chart, this column chart we have here. So here I'll say none. I'll do same for this, I'll say none. I'll do same for this, I'll say none. I'll do same for this, I'll say none. Because we always want the slicer to display, we always want to display the total subscribers from 2011 to 2012. So when we slice, we don't want to show 1 year, we don't want to show just 1 year. So this next time when we're slicing now, it doesn't affect this because we already have the total subscribers for the different year already. So I'll click on the edit interaction to remove every other thing there. So great, we have our year slicer here. So the next thing we need to do is also create a slicer for our subjects, our subject slicer, because we're needing a slicer to slice by subject. And we're also going to do the same thing to make sure that the subject slicer doesn't interact with this table, the table we have here. So I'll come to the new slicer. What do we want to do? We want to slice by subject, so I'll pick the subject. We have 4 subjects. I'll come to format. The first thing I want to do is a slicer, the layout now, same thing. We want just, now we want how many columns? We want 4 columns and we need just 1 row, 1 row. Great, so 4 columns, 1 row. The 4 columns I'm referring to here is because we have 4 that's 4 courses. We have 4 courses. So if it's more than 4, I'll definitely say I will definitely use another number. If it's 6, I'll say 6, but I'm referring to 4 columns. That's because we have just 4 courses. So the next thing I want to do here is come to slicer settings. No, we don't need to do anything there. Then call out value. Call out value. So for the call out value, let's say we turn it off because we don't want to show any value there. Great, so we turn it off. Finally, I'll come to general. I'll turn up the title also. So this is our subject slicer. This is our subject slicer. So when you slice by a particular subject, you notice what happens to the table visual. You see what happens. You get just that subject. So this is web development. We don't want this to happen. So what we need to do, once the slicer is selected, I'll come to format again. I'll come to edit interaction. I don't want this slicer to interact with this table. So I'll close. I'll say no, no, no. Great. So the slicer doesn't interact with the table. I'll uncheck the edit interaction. So now when you click on the slicer, the next slicer, it will interact with the year, but it will interact with the table. Now the year will interact with this, but it will interact with this year here. So if I filter by the next year, it will interact with this, but it will interact with this one. Great. So we figured that out already and we're good. So we have our slicers, we have every chart we need. So what do we need to do next? We don't need this anymore. I'll simply remove this. So finally, we need to start formatting everything we have here to look exactly like this report we have here. And that's where we need to go to PowerPoint. But before we go to PowerPoint, there's something we need to do, one more thing we need to do. So I have a color table here, and in my color table, what I have in my color table, if we come to table view, I have a color table. So in my color table, I have the different subjects, which are the courses, and the color code for each of the courses, which is each of the subjects. So this, we need to create this table. This is where we're able to effect the changes, where when I pick on a particular subject, the entire color changes for the chart to show that that subject has been selected. So this is where we need to create a table with the different courses, and we add the color code to the different courses. So we have business, finance, graphic design, musical instruments, and web development. So let's navigate back to our report now. So while we're here, we need to create a table. So I'll just come to enter data. For the first column, I'll name this column the subject. The next column, I'll name it the color. So now we need to get the name of the subject. So you have to make sure that the spelling is accurate, same, just the way it is spelled here, case sensitive and everything. So that's why I'm having my screen next to where I have the subject, the table, the subjects. So I'll make sure the spellings are the same. This is web development. I have to check. So for the color code, this is where you get to pick any color combination you want. You get to pick any color combination you want. So I'll simply come to my browser. I'll search for, this is what I use, colorhunt.co. We have 4 subjects. We want the colors to change within this for these 4 subjects. So I'll pick any 4 color combination here. Any 4 color combination that I like. This link is actually colorhunt.co. I'll pick any 4 color combination. You can actually filter by popular. Wait. You can pick any combination of color anyway. Mustn't be, you can pick, maybe just choose your colors, the colors you prefer. This is where you get to choose the colors you prefer. Most times I just pick any 4 combination I think I like. So I will try out these 4 colors I have here. I'll try out these 4 colors I have here. So I'll simply just click on it. So this is where I get to choose which course should have which color. So I'll pick this first one for web development. So in my table, in my color, I'll paste web development. Remember to add this symbol. So this is web development. For the next course, that's business finance. Remember to check the spelling. I'll go grab the next color code. I want this color code, so I'll take this color code back to my Power BI. I'll paste the color code. For the next one, that's graphic design. Graphic design, I want the color code, I want this, so I'll copy this. I'll paste this. Finally, for musical instruments, that's musical instruments. I'll navigate back and copy this color code. So I'll paste the color code. Once I'm done, I'll name this table color, and of course I'll load. So once this is done, if we go back to our report here, these are our reports now. I'll come to the model. You can actually see the color table is connected to our fact table. That's why I said the naming convention for the courses must be correct and must be intact. So once we go back to our report now, this is our report. We'll go to the model. I'll look for the color table we just created. This is the color table. The connection has already been established for me. That's because Power BI sensitivity is smart enough to know that I have subject on this table. So it was able to create a connection between the subject on the color and the subject on the fact Udemy table. The connection has already been created. So I'll go back to our report now. So the first thing I need to do, I want a situation where the first chart, this very chart I'm on now for the year, total subscribers by year, if a particular course is selected, I want the color code of that course to display on this chart. So what do I need to do? I'll select this chart now. I'll come to format. I'll come to the column. So we have apply all. Next thing I'll do, I'll come to conditional formatting. The conditional formatting, I want it to be based on field value. So I'll supply my field value. So what we said, what field should we base this on? So I'll come, that's where I'll come to the color and select the color field, color table, color field. Once I've done that, I'll click on OK. Great. I'll do same for the rest for this conditional formatting. I don't know if I hold my control key, I'll be able to do same for all at once. So I'll select all, say feed value. What value is the color and its color? I'll click on OK. Great. So once I select another subject, this color changes to that subject. Okay, we're yet to get the color change. We are yet to get the color change. That's because we need to do one more thing. This slicer we have here, is actually based on the fact table subject. The fact table subject. So we need to change this. We need to uncheck the subject from the fact table and replace it with the subject on the color table. Replace it with the subject on the color table. What I just did now is I remove, for this slicer we use the fact Udemy table subject. So now I'm replacing the fact Udemy table subject with the color. The color we created now, for each subject we added a color. So in our color table, we're going to replace the subject. We're filtering with that subject now. So replace that field with that subject. So next, when we click on the particular subject now, the color should change to that subject. Great, great, great. So this subject is, yeah, we won't be able to tell now, but eventually we should be able to tell. We'll have a slicer, we'll have a display for that. So you see the color change, you notice the color change. Great. So we need to do same for this chart we have here, all the charts we have here. So I'm going to select this chart, hold down my control and select this chart. So for these two charts, all we need to do is come to format, come to columns. While it's on all, we'll come to conditional formatting, change it from rules, we say feed value. Now we want the feed value to be based on what? Color. We want it to be based on which field? The color field. Click on OK. Great. We need to do same for the scatter plots. For the scatter plots, I think we need to come to markers, scroll down, you get colors. For this color, click on conditional formatting now. This should be based on field value, and what field value is our color table color. Click on OK. Great. So what happens next? If we select any other course here, you see the entire color changes to that subject. Select any subject, the entire color changes to that subject. This subject, the entire color changes. Now we're not only selecting the subject, it's just an indication that okay, we're no longer selecting the previous subject. So we need to do same for this slicer, this year slicer here. So the color change will also affect this here slicer. So to do that, we need to select the slicer and come to the colored value. Now on default, this is on default. So on default, we simply say, on default, that means when it's not selected, it should be grayed out. I think so. So let's say if it's not selected, it should be grayed out. No, this is actually the text color. Okay. If it's not selected, it should be grayed out. That's on default. Then on selected, you change the filter now to unselected. When one is selected, that means when a particular year is selected, what color do we want to display? We come to conditional formatting now. We want it to be based on the field value. We want it to be based on the color, same color, and click OK. So once it's selected, now I'm getting that for the values, but it's not actually the values we want. So I'll change that from values now. I'll cancel the formatting. I'll cancel this formatting. I'll simply erase it. I want it to still be white, please. Now what we need to come to buttons. This is where we have the fill. So come down to fill. Now it's actually the field that we want the conditional formatting for. So click on the conditional formatting. It should be based on field value, the color, and click on OK. Oh no, this is not what I want. Now remember something, this is on default. So this is great. So we're learning a lot, so we need to uncheck this. On default, this is what we want to display. We're fine with this. We want to display this. Let's be sure. Okay, on default, we want it to be a little bit gray. So let's go back. So on default now, we want this to be a little bit, to be gray a little. You feel? Yeah, great. So for the values, come back to the values. Come back to the values on this visual. Come back to the slicer setting. No, not slicer. That's the color value now. Change the text value to, let's say, black. Remember, change this to on default, please. On default, let's be on default. On default, what do we want to see? Let's change this text value to black. Great, this is what we want to see on default. This is selected, don't worry about this. On default, this is how it should look like. When you hover on it, it shows like you want to highlight it also. Then this is what we want to see on default. Now, change this on default to on selected. When the slicer is selected, we want the value to be white. Great, so the value is white. The value is white when it's selected. We can actually increase the size a bit to 14. Yes, to show that that year is selected. Now, once we are done with that, come down to the buttons. Scroll down. Change this button now from default. We have to take it to unselected because we want the color to affect it when it's selected. Now, this is where we apply the conditional formatting and say field value, color, and click on OK. Great. So when you have a particular subject selected, the year also shows that, okay, the color conforms to the year selected also conforms to the subject color. So one thing I was unable to implement is having to implement that same color code for this subject filter. So while this subject slicer is selected now, on default, we don't have any issue. We want it to remain this way on default. But then I tried something on selected. This is where the subject slicer now. On selected, I wanted the fill. That's on selected. I applied the same field value, color, and clicked on OK. Great. So now if you select another color, so this was the issue I had. I noticed the color isn't changing for some reasons, some weird reasons, I don't know. I said I was going to figure it out before making this video. So the color change doesn't affect the subject slicer. So what I did was just to settle for something simple. So what I did was come to the buttons. While we are on selected, I just said, okay, I want the fill. I'll delete this now. I want the fill to just be, let's say, gray. Yes, so gray is fine. When you select any other one, it should be gray that this particular subject is selected. Select any other one, it should be gray that this particular subject is selected. Select, subject is selected. So with that, we're done with our color. We need to apply the same thing to this donut chart we have here. So click on the donut chart, come to format, slices. Do we need to have, yeah, slices. Well, was I able to apply this to the donut chart? I don't think so. Let me confirm that. No, we won't be able to apply that to the donut chart. Yes, we won't be able to apply it to the donut chart. But we should be able to apply it to the label. So what we need to do is come to the donut chart. The slices of the donut chart, we can say paid should be, let's say, pick any color you want. This is where you need to make your choice. Pick any color you want. I'll pick this, then I'll say free should be this. Fine, I'm okay with this. So for the label, that's the label, we'll come to the values. We can actually apply the color change to the value. This is the value. So format and say based on field value, you can apply the color change to the value. That's color. So the label, that's the label now, the label for this donut chart. When we select a particular course, the label should change to the course value. Yeah, so you see the value now changes to that course. The value also changes to that course. So with this, we are actually done with the different we are done with the color formatting. That's the color format. Then what do we need to do next? I think we need to go to PowerPoint, create our background, bring it here. So before we do that, let's just quickly do some formatting to all this. For this, we can actually say format. We want the data label. We want the label to be out. So we can say out. That's the position. We want it outside end. This we want it outside end also. So this is fine. So for this second chart now, what I'll do is simply scroll up. For the y-axis, I'll turn up the values. I'll turn up the title. For the x-axis, I'll turn up the title also. Wait. I've done same for this, so we're good. For this, I'll do same. No, I think I'm okay with this. I'll just leave this. So finally, let's go to, now we need to give these headers. We need to the titles we have here are not okay. So for this, we have total subscribers by course levels, how many subscribers, or how much a subscriber is willing to spend. So if you notice one thing, for my title, I selected a particular title. This is the title now. So this is the title. If you come to the title now for this chart, there's a function to the title. See, there's a function to the conditional formatting to the title. That's because anytime a particular course subject now is selected, I want it to also, the color to also reflect that also. So if you check the conditional formatting for this, you will notice that it's being formatted based on the field value. So I'll cancel this. So if you come to the title is on and it's being formatted that way. So for this title now, what I did was, if we come here, we have to give it, let's say, based on field value. So what I'm doing now is I'm saying this title, we're formatting the title should be based on this slicer. So we're also going to do same for the color. I'll take it to the center. So I'll select this chart. The title, instead of having price, whatever, that's not the title I'm referring to now. I'm referring to the selection. Which selection are we currently on? That's the subject selection. So I'll say the subject selection should be based on the same feed value. I'll refer to, now I'm not selecting color, please note that I'm selecting the title. Say I'm saying it should be based on the subject. I'll click on OK. I'll also centralize that. I'll do same for this. So for the text, the title, I'll click on the conditional formatting. I'll say the title should be based on the color, not color, that's the color table subject. I'll also do same for this. The title, the field should be based on the subject, and click on OK. So now notice what's going to happen. If I select web development is currently the subject that is selected now. Web development is selected. So if I select another course, the color changes and it changes. This is musical instruments. I select another subject, course or subject, I assign graphic design. So you're seeing it, graphic design, graphic design, graphic design. I'll do same for this donut chart. For the title of the donut chart, I'll say conditional formatting, feed value. I'll write down this for now. I'll say okay. Great. So I'll centralize this also. So one thing I can also do now, the title is going to reflect the selection, the subject that is selected for all these charts. Now, I also want the title color to reflect the selection. So when I select this chart now, I'm going to come to format, general, title. Now the title is reflecting the subject that is selected. Now I want the color to be subject, that's the color. When you come to text color here, I also want it to reflect that also. Field value, I'll also say, now it should be based on the color because I want the color change. I'll click on OK. Great, so you see musical instruments. So I'll do same for every other chart. Feed value, color, that's the color. Click on OK. I'll do same for this. Now remember, it's the text color we're talking about. So feed value, not subject, please. Color. I'll do same for this. Remember, text, not background. So feed value, color. Click on OK. I'll do same finally for this. I'm referring to the text color. And click on OK. So now the title is actually showing the subject that is selected. The color is also showing the subject that is selected. So if we select another subject now you're seeing the subject, the title, and the color. Everything changes. Select another subject, same thing happens. Great. So we're almost done with the report. Finally, we need to do one more thing. For our slicer, that's our subject slicer, we also want to show the current selection next to it. So what I'm trying to talk about is, if you come to our report here, this is our slicer. It's currently saying that we are on graphic design. So once you select this, you notice that this is the subject slicer. This we have here is, I think it's a chart also. Yeah, it's a card. It's simply a card. Then I added the subject to it to actually show that this is the subject that is currently selected. So what I'm trying to say is, while we're here, we can simply say pick the card visual. Now any the card visual and add the subject to the card visual. Great. So this is the subject. It's showing the subject that is selected. So all we need to do is format this and say the category. We can turn off the category, we don't need it. The colored value, just reduce the size to say 16. Then now for this colored value, we can change the color. The color should now be a conditional formatting based on our feed value. And you know our feed value is color, and click on OK. Great. So what we need to do finally is to add a title to this. Add the title and say current selection. We can actually increase the size a bit to 16. Let's say 14 is fine. Come down and say center. So this is what I'm trying to say. So we have a current selection. We'll put this next to the subject slicer. So when we select another subject, we get the current selection, current selection, current selection. Wait, so we're actually done with the entire chart, the visuals we need. So the next thing we need to do now is simply just go to PowerPoint and create our background, bring it here and place everything within our background here. So take a look at the background. We simply go to PowerPoint now and we create this background, just bring it into Power BI and we're good to go. So finally, one thing we also need to do is to give our chart title. This chart, the titles are actually just a text box, just simple text box. These are text box to give them the title. So I think what I want to do to save time now, I'll hold this set box, take this, take this, take this. I'll simply copy it, come to the report and paste. So I have the text box, total subscribers. It's just the titles, different title for each of the charts. Great. So now we can proceed to PowerPoint and create our background and bring it to Power BI, arrange our chart, and we're good to go. So stay with me while we go to PowerPoint. So once my PowerPoint is open, I'll simply delete this. I'll also delete this. I'll right click on the background and say format background. I'll change the color. I'll pick 25% darker. I'll increase the transparency to 50%. 50%. Next, I'll come to insert, shapes. I'll pick this rectangle with rounded corners. I'll simply draw this over my entire page. I'll adjust the rounded corners, reduce the size a bit, adjust the rounded corners. I'll make sure it fits to my page. Great. Great. The next thing I'm going to do now is simply come to shape fill. I'll say no fill. I'll come to shape outline, the weight, I'll take it to 6 points. I'll go back to shape outline once more. I'll change the color to purple. Great. The next thing I'm going to do is simply come to insert once more, shapes. I'll pick the rectangle with rounded corners once more. I'll draw it over this. I'll adjust the rounded corners. To ensure it fits. Once I've done this, I'll come back to shape fill. Once I'm done now, I'll come to shape fill. I'll take the fill to white. I'll go to the outline. I'll say no outline. Great. I'll adjust the corners a little. Great. The next thing I'll simply do once more, just make little adjustments here. Great. I'll go back to insert once more. Shapes. I'll pick the rounded corners once more. I'll bring it here. Great. Once I have this, I'll come to shape fill. I'll pick 5% darker, that's the first color. I'll come to shape outline, I'll say no outline. So once I have this, I'll just increase the size a bit. I'll make 3 duplicates for this. That's 1, that's 2, the final one. So I have 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll select the 4. I'll select the 4, 2, 3, 4. I'll simply come to align, where I have align here, and I'll say distribute vertically. Great. Once I have this done, I'll make a copy of this once more. I'll take it to this corner. I'll make a little adjustment. I'll take it down. I'll adjust the rounded corners. I'll make one more copy of this. Bring it down. Great. Finally, I'll make one copy once more. I'll bring it here. I want this to accommodate my ear. That's my ear slicer. I want this to accommodate my ear slicer. So I'll just place it here. That should take care of my ear slicer. I'll make one more copy of this. Bring it here. I want this to take care of my subject slicer. So when you come to our Power BI here, this is the one I'm trying to create now. And this is the ear slicer. And we have this already. So let's go back to PowerPoint. Make these adjustments. Let me be sure. Ideally, I'm supposed to take a picture of this to PowerPoint, but I don't want to do that. Okay. I feel this is fine. I'll just increase the size a little. Leave it here. Go back to PowerPoint, check. Need it to be a little bit longer. You can actually make these adjustments. Then finally, I'll make one more copy, one last copy. I'll bring it here. Great. With this, I'm actually done creating the background we need to take to Power BI. So the next thing I'll simply do is just hit Ctrl A, right click, and say save as a picture. I'll call this picture now background. You can actually give it any name you want. I'll just call mine background and I'll save it. Please note where you're saving this to. I'll save this. Once I'm done saving this, I can navigate to my Power BI. That's our report now. The next thing I'm going to do is simply come to Format Reports. That's the report page. Ensure that you don't have anything selected, like you don't have any visual selected. Come to Canva background, browse. Then you have to locate the picture you just saved. Mine is background. Look at it here. I'll pick it. I'll click on open. Once that is done, I'll change this to fit. Then I'll reduce the transparency. Great. So I have the background here. I'll simply start making adjustments to fit everything in. So ideally, I need this to be bigger. If there's any issue, I'll make the adjustment. So the next thing I want to do now is start the arrangement. What we need is total subscribers to fit in here. This is total revenue. So this is subscribers. Just need to reduce the size. Total subscribers. The next thing we need is the bar. This bar chart, I'll simply come to format visual, general, effects. I'll turn off the background. Wait, once I've done that, I'll make the adjustment, bring it in. Finally, we need the table visual to come in also. So for the table visual, I'll simply bring it right here. Great. So for the first one, we have the table visual, we have the card visual, the stacked column, and finally the matrix table. One thing I'll do for this matrix table, I'll simply come to format visual. I'll come to column headers. I'll reduce the size of the column of the header. Maybe I'll make it 12. Great, I'll make it 12. So we have the total subscribers, then we also have the stack column and the matrix table all in one already. The next one is total revenue. So I'll simply scroll down. This is total revenue. So we need the chart for total revenue. This is the chart for total revenue. Once more, I'll go to format, general, effects. I'll turn off the background. I'll make the adjustments. Then we need the table for revenue. Table for revenue. This is the table for revenue. Great. Just place it here. Remember that we need to adjust the column header. I'll come to format now. Column header. I'll reduce the size to 12. Great. So we have for the revenue, so we have for the revenue, the subscribers, the revenue. Next is reviews. We just make the adjustments once more. Resize this to make sure it fits in. We have enough space. Great. We'll pick the stack column for the revenue. Go to format once more. General, turn off the background. While I'm there, I'll simply select the last one. I'll turn off the background also. I'll place this here. And we have the lectures. Great. Finally, we need the matrix table for the lectures. I'll pick this. Remember that I probably need to come to format and say column headers, reduce the size. It's 12 already, so it's fine. This is what? This is 12, so this is 12 also. It's fine. So finally, I'll take the table for, this is a table for the lectures. Great. So we have this arrangement already. We have this sorted out. The next thing we need to do is to ensure these things, everything we have here, they're actually same size. So I'll click on this. I'll adjust the size a bit to what I really want. I'll come to format now. General. I'll see properties. This is 163.217. So I'll just make sure every other one is 163.217. 163.217. Once that is done, next I'll pick the start column. I'll reduce the size a bit. I'll maintain same size. I'll just come to format now, general, properties, 153276. So I'll pick this, select this, select this. That's 153, 153, 276. This is 153. Great. So ensure they are all same size. Make the necessary adjustments. The alignment also. Great. So we have the tables in order also. Great. We're almost getting there. So finally, I'll take this, not finally now. I'll bring this here. One thing I would love to do also is simply come to format. I'll come to general effects. I'll turn off the background also here. Great. So this current selection is coming here. I'll simply come to format once more, general effects. I'll turn off the background. Great. So we have this figured out. Next, I'll bring this here. Now we'll probably go to PowerPoint and make a little adjustment to our background there. But before we do that, let's just fit this right in here. Leave it there. Next, we need to put our charts. This is for, okay, so this chart will be here, while this chart will be here. So once I have this chart here, I'll just increase the size a bit. I'll come to format once more, general effects. I'll turn off the background. While I'm there, I'll stay on this one and also turn off the background. Great. So I want same size. So I'll simply stay here, format. Now I have title on the x-axis, so I want to turn it off. I'll turn it off. Great. So I have this figured out. The next thing I want to do is ensure these two charts, they're actually same size. So I'll select this. I'll go to general, properties, 313407. This is 313407. Great. So I'll make the slight adjustments, align the charts. Great. Then the titles, I'll bring the titles in. I'll bring the titles in. Great. So we have this figured out. Finally, let's make the last adjustment for our scatter plots. So for our scatter plot, the next thing I'll also do is turn off the background. So I'll come here, general effects, I'll turn off the background. I'll do same for the next one. I'll turn off the background. So I'll check the sizes to make sure they are the same also. So for this, I'll stay on this, come to general now, properties, 321407. This is what? 321. This is 407. Let me be sure. 407, 321, 407. So I'll simply make some slight adjustments here. Bring it down a bit. Okay. Great. So we're almost there. We're almost there. Almost there. Only thing we need to do now is to ensure this is fine here. Is to just go back and make slight adjustment for this very slicer. That's the year slicer we have here. So I'll go back to my PowerPoint. I'll simply make a slight adjustment for this. I'll reduce the size a bit. I'll come back to my, okay, I need to reduce the size for this also, because yeah, let's compare this to the previous reports we have. So I need to reduce the size. Okay, so this current selection is actually in it, so I don't need to reduce the size. Then click to select subject, then select here. Okay, great. So let's go back to PowerPoint now. We don't need to reduce the size for this. We only need to increase the width a bit. Great. So for this, we need to probably increase the width a bit. Fine. So I'll resave this. I'll just say Control A, right click. I'll save as a picture once more. I'll save it as the same background picture, so it will replace what I have there already. I'll just simply say save. Yes, do you want to? Yes, yes, yes. That's what I want. So now I'll go back to my Power BI. You don't need to worry about the adjustments you've made already. I'll navigate back to my background once more. Make sure you don't have any search selected, so I'll select Format Report Page, Canva Background. I'll check this now, bring in the background once more. I have it here. I'll click on Open. Normal, yeah, I'll fit it, fit. Great. So finally, I think we have this in order now, so I can simply make the adjustment I want to make here. Come to General once more, Effects, turn off the background. Great, so this fits in right well. For this, we probably need to make a little adjustment here. Great, we need to take this back. Then this current selection, we need to make it fit in into the space we provided there already. So I'll select this now. Bring the current selection in here. Great. I think one thing we need to do is just reduce the size, because when we have a selection that is way, so yeah, that's 14. So let's try it out. We can try this selection and make sure it fits in. Graphic design, this selection. Music instruments, this selection. Web development. Okay, we're good. Great. So we have everything figured out. Everything is in order. I'll just make a small adjustment to this table here. Okay, so this is fine. What we need to do is just add simple information here. The first information I want to add is to tell anybody looking at this report that this is actually here. So you can actually select here. So I'll just come to text box. I'll simply say select here. I'll simply say select here. I'll increase the size a bit to 14. I have to select that. So Ctrl A. I'll just increase the size to say 14. I'll centralize that. I'll leave it at black. One thing I want to do is make a copy. I'll paste. I'll just take one of the copies I've made now. I'll select here. Take it, drop it here. So what I want to do is come to effects. I'll turn off the background. Great. So you can actually just click there to select here. I'll make a copy of this. Copy, paste. Then I'll come and say I'll changes. I'll simply say click to select subjects. It's just a piece of information. Click to select subjects. I'll just bring this up here. Click to select subjects. Okay, I have one. So one thing I'm going to do is simply say this should be percent subscribers. So we need to increase this because the value is actually short. Okay. For this, I'm going to say, I'll simply say percent subscribers. What is wrong with my keyboard? So this will be percent subscribers. What I want to do is simply increase the size a bit. I'll say this should be 14. Wait, that's fine. So for percent subscribers, I'll just bring it here. First thing I'll do is come to effects, turn off the background. I'll just place it here. So that's for percent subscribers. Nope, I don't want that. What's going on? I don't want that. Jeez. New Power BI. I don't want this. I don't want to make any adjustment. I'm fine. This is interesting. Okay. Now this is funny. I'm having fun. Cancel, please. So I'll just make a little adjustment here. I want to make sure it's in order. Okay, great. This is what I want. No, that's not what I want. I want it to be at the middle. Right here. I think I need to use my keyboard to adjust this. So I'll adjust using my keyboard. Yeah. So that's why I want it. I'll make a copy of that. So the next one will be percent. This is supposed to be percent what now? Revenue. Percentage revenue. So I'll just say percentage revenue. I'll change this from subscribers to revenue. This should be percentage revenue. I need to make one more copy, two more copies of this. So this should be revenue. So this should be revenue. I'll make one copy. Then this should be what now? Reviews. Yeah, this should be reviews. I'll change this to reviews. I'll make one more copy. And finally, this should be lectures. So this should be lectures. Great. So once I have this done, I need to adjust the lectures. Great. So once I have that done, I have subscribers, revenue, reviews, and lectures. What do we need to do next? Okay, so you actually need to pick a current state. So I'll simply pick, say I pick this state. I need to shift this a bit closer. You can make same adjustments. These things are simple, just make the adjustments as you feel. Great. So this is the state we've selected. That's business finance. So we can actually say we when we uncheck this now, none is selected. We don't have anything selected. Let's say we uncheck the year. We don't have anything selected as of this moment. The report is not filtered with anything. We're not filtering with anything. So since we're not filtering, I'll simply, at this state, I'll just say I want to create what we call a bookmark. So I'll simply come to view bookmarks. I would add a bookmark for this state, and I'll simply say this is clear. Now, what I'm trying to do is, say I have a particular year selected. This is 2013. And let's say I have a particular subject also selected. Now I want to return back to a state where I don't have anything selected. So we have to clear. So when you click on clear, so we're going to tie this clear bookmark to a particular button. So what we need to do is simple. We'll just uncheck this bookmark now. We'll simply create a button for clear or slicer. Now we're not clearing all slicer per se, we're clearing both slicer or chart in case you have any chart selected or anything selected. You're clearing everything. I'll click on this chart. I'll come to format. I'll say data label. For the position, I'll say auto. Fine. So we have that state already. Whether it's a chart you are filtering by, anything you're filtering by, just click on clear to clear everything. So what I did was simply to go insert an icon. This is the icon I normally use. So I'll simply copy it. So you can actually grab this icon online. You can grab any icon you actually feel it's okay. Just grab any icon. Normally I use this cleaner icon. So I'll simply copy this now. I'll navigate back to my reports. I'll paste home. I'll paste the icon. So this is the icon now. I'll place the icon here because I want the icon to be in this small box we created before now. So this is the icon. Now there's no action on the icon yet. So I'll select the icon. On the action, I'll turn it on. In case it's off, I'll turn it on. I'll expand and I'll tie this action. I'll select a bookmark. I'll tie it to clear. That's the clear bookmark we created. So in case you have a chart selected, let's say you have this chart selected and you need to clear, you can't actually find the chart you selected, you're finding it difficult. Now you need to click on the clear button to return to a state where you don't have anything selected. That's the essence of the clear button. So with this, we are actually done with the entire report. The only thing you need to bring in is just the write-up we have here. This is just a text box write-up. The only reason I'm not bringing in this write-up now is you can actually write anything you like. You don't necessarily have to use same write-up like I have here. You can use any write-up you like, write any other thing you like, anything you feel like that it's okay, that would make a point in your analysis. I know we are missing something. That's just these simple icons we have here. It's not really an icon. I created this in Power BI here. So if we really need to do that, all I did was just to come to insert, shapes, picked this triangle, not rectangle, triangle, adjusted this triangle to be very small. Now I'll come to general properties. I want to reduce the height. Make it 30. The width, make it 25. I still need to reduce the height a bit, so I'll just reduce the height, say 25. Great, 25, 25. So this is what I did. I did now. So this is for the first one. I'll simply come to style. I'll change the color, more colors. I'll select green. I'll just pick any shade of green. I'll make sure there's no border also. I'll turn off the border. So this is for the green icon going up. I'll make a duplicate of this icon. Home, copy, paste. Now I need to rotate this icon. So I'll come to rotation. I'll shape. I'll rotate in 90 degrees. No, I'll rotate in 180. Yes, 180 degrees. So we have two icons here. I'll place them side. That's two shapes, icons, you can call them shapes or icons. So I'll make this one red. I'll simply select it, style. I'll pick the color red. Red color. Great. So I have the green and the red. One final thing, I need a line, a very short line, very simple short line. Shapes, come to line. I'll pick the line. Now I need this line to be 90 degrees or so. Great. So I'll simply reduce this. What I want is, I don't want a background, so effects, background, okay, is off. For this shape, I'll come to style. Interestingly, I'll just come to border. I'll say I want the line to be black. So I'll reduce the size now. Place it in between the two triangles. Just place it in between the two triangles. It's still too big. This isn't fun though, but sometimes it's fun to me. I'll simply reduce the height to be 25. I'll make sure it's well in between the two triangles. Nope. Okay, so this is it. This is what I want, or this, we can actually use this. The next thing I'll simply do, I'll just highlight these three items together. Come to format, say group and group. Now, once I have them grouped, I can then make a copy, paste. I'll make the first copy. I'll just grab the first copy. I'll take it, place it for total subscribers. I'll take one more. I'll make just, this is second copy, third copy. I'll take this once more next to revenue. Pick this once more next to reviews. And pick the last one. This ought to be the last one. No, this is not what I want. So I'll paste one more copy. I don't know what's wrong with that. Paste one more copy. Yeah, so I need one more copy. I'll pick one more copy for lectures. Great, so we don't need this, so I'll simply delete this. Great, so with this, we can actually compare this to what we have here. Yeah, I know this is actually smaller, so you can actually make it smaller. You can make these shapes, these icons, you can make them smaller. But with this, where you can actually see the two reports, they are similar. So one thing we need to do is adjust the size for this. So the size for the values can actually fit in here. So you can put any text you want to, like use a text box, put any other thing you want, any write-up you want to add here, any write-up, then save your report. So we're actually good to go. I think we've been able to achieve everything we want. I'll simply save my report now. And try it out. I'll select a particular subject. Now you can see we need to make a little adjustment here when you select the subject. So I'll reduce the size. This is just you need to size these to make sure they're in order. Eventually you need to size to make sure everything is in order. Okay, that's fine. You still can make these adjustments, make the necessary adjustments you need to make on your end, then try the report, pick a particular year, pick a particular year. You can see the current selection, particular year. You can actually see how the report is interacting. Switch your subject to, let's say, this is what now, web development. Switch your subject. This is what, business finance. So that's how it works. Then you can come to clear to take your report back to a state where nothing is selected. Great. So with this, I'll simply click on save and we are good to go. So this will be the end of the video. If the video was useful and there's anything, any feedback you would love to give to me, I don't mind. You can leave your feedback in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel for more videos. If there's any topic, any video you want me to cover, you can actually leave your comments, leave a like on the video. Thank you very much. Until I see you again. Bye for now. Oh, don't forget to make this adjustment. I don't really like it when my hair flows this way, so you can always adjust the charts to make sure the hair is straight. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Great. Thank you very much.